Okay, so Caroline, what do you think about all this then?
I think it's a really powerful demonstration of the fact that what we're talking about here are real people's lives. I think all too often when you hear on the news, you hear numbers, you just hear the term migrants, you forget about every one of those having a family, a history, a personal life. I think this just brings home to us the scale of the tragedy that's happening, and hopefully also puts more pressure on governments to act with more urgency to try to stop it happening.
And by the sounds of it, we had another disaster yesterday. These guys are talking about maybe 30,000 victims this year if we carry on the way we are.
Which is an absolutely outrageous number, a terrible number. Europe has got to act together to intervene. You know, the idea that at this very moment we've actually been scaling back the rescue missions. You know, the Italian Mare Nostrum programme was scaled back. That is exactly the wrong response. Of course, we've got to tackle the push factors in many of these countries, but that's a longer term issue. What we need to do right now is to try to save lives. Thanks very much, Caroline.
Naomi Westland from Amnesty International.
Excellent. Well, we were just speaking to Caroline there about the urgency of this case. Is there anything that you've got to add to what she might have said?
Well, as you can see, we've laid out 200 body bags on Brighton Beach this morning to highlight the UK's shameful response to the migrant crisis in the Mediterranean. Tomorrow, EU leaders are meeting in Brussels to discuss a response to the crisis, and what we need, David Cameron's going, what we need him to say at that meeting, we need him to make a firm commitment to a wide-ranging and comprehensive search and rescue operation in the Mediterranean to stop people drowning at sea right now.
Excellent. And by the sounds of it, we had another disaster yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be happening on a daily basis, and actually in the summer months more and more people make this journey. That happens every year. The sea is calmer, the weather's better, more people make the journey. More people make the journey, more people are going to drown, and it's an emergency on Europe's borders, and the UK government has a responsibility, and the UK government must act, and must act now.
It seems poignant that we're getting a lot of reports that the US and the UK government are supplying arms to these countries, but they're not prepared to deal with the people that are flooding out of these countries when it happens. What would you say about that?
Well, obviously dealing with human rights abuses in countries where they're happening, where people are fleeing from, is essential to dealing with this crisis. But what we're seeing now is the results of that, and it's an emergency happening right now. Thousands of people are drowning, and it's essentially EU leaders cannot just sit back and watch it happen. So we're really hopeful that tomorrow EU leaders will come up with a comprehensive, concrete plan for a wide-ranging search and rescue mission. That needs to be done now to deal with the problem now. Excellent.
Well, thanks ever so much for what you said there, and yeah, I hope it makes a difference.
Thank you, so do we.
Yeah. Hello mate, so we're on Brighton Beach here, and you seem to be laying here in body bags. What's it all about?
Well, there's a saying by Edmund Burke, evil triumphs when good men do nothing. And Britain is doing so little to help people because the word migrant has got such a bad feeling because of Dover and Calais. But we really must do something, and Amnesty is here to witness to the people who are suffering and dying in the Mediterranean.
And I heard there was more deaths yesterday.
Yes.
And we're expecting about 30,000 deaths, maybe more this year if we carry on the way we are.
Yeah, let's hope our Foreign Secretary tomorrow really makes a point that England has got to do its share to help humanity.
Absolutely.
This is not a local issue, this is an international issue.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, thanks very much. Thanks. Okay, so a graphic display here this morning on Brighton Beach. From what I understand, we had more problems yesterday. We're looking at 30,000 death toll this year if we carry on like this. What have you got to say about that?
Yeah, I'm Nancy Platts. I'm standing to be the Labour MP in Brighton, Cape Town and Peacehaven. And I want to start by welcoming Amnesty International drawing attention to this issue in Brighton. It's devastating what has happened to people. We need a much stronger response to search and rescue. We need to increase the team. I think the Conservatives adding one more person to the team to make it 5 is just not good enough. And we need a much stronger European Union response to search and rescue.
Absolutely. I would like to ask the question. A lot of our governments have had the finger pointed at them for arming the situation in Syria, and it's almost like we're causing these people to be displaced and then not dealing with it when they are.
What we need is a much stronger response to trafficking. It's not good enough for this government to wash their hands of the trafficking issue and say by stopping a search and rescue operation it will decrease trafficking. Clearly we've got a clear example here that does not work. We need to increase the search and rescue operation, and we need to deal with trafficking at its source as well.
And in these times of so much controversy about immigrants, and you know, how would we find the cash to do that?
This is a desperate situation. People are losing their lives. This is not about money. This is about loss of life. We have to do something to help people. It's not acceptable simply not to provide resources. People being trafficked, going out on the open sea and losing their lives is not acceptable. We need to find a humane way to respond to it. And if that means putting more money into it, that's what we need to do.
Thank you very much. That's excellent. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Well, first of all, my name's Malcolm. I'm half English and half Ghanaian, which so that means I'm half African. My father was African. I think it's a disgrace the British government are not doing enough to help people. These people are either war zones or being abused or looking to improve their lives. As far as I'm concerned, I am English. I was born here, but I'm ashamed of it because we used to say the British Empire. Well, the British Empire, they walked into Africa for slaves. 100 years later they don't want to know about people drowning, and I think it's a really disgrace because they wanted slaves to come over here and help build the roads and run the buses and the post office, and now there's generations are here. They're not doing anything about people drowning. People are human beings, whether they're black, white or whatever, human beings, and I'm ashamed that the government should do more to help people and to get bigger ships to bring people to safety. People keep on saying about immigration, but they didn't say that 100 years ago when they wanted people to come over as slaves. I've actually been to Ghana, because I've got a house there, and seen where people were taken from Ghana and the way the little huts they lived in to sugar plantation to pick coffee and stuff like that. And I think it's a disgrace, and I think that whoever gets in on May the 7th should do more for the people who are desperate to come to this country to either get out of abusive relationships or war zones or to find a better life. Because years ago, people in this country just took people without asking, and I think it's a disgrace. Thank you very much.